Hi, it's Morag from Our Permaculture Life, and I'm at the Australian Permaculture Convergence in Canberra, and I'm here today with Ego from Timor Leste, and we've just been hearing some absolutely fantastic stories about the work that you've been doing for decades now, and I'm particularly interested in the work that you're doing with schools. And there was something else that you said too that struck me, talking about Timor Leste as a permaculture country.
Yeah.
And I really would love to just hear you speak a little bit more about the journey of permaculture.
Yeah, like Timor, before Portuguese arrival of Portuguese in Timor, so Timor basically is a permaculture country. But because of this, during the colonization, so new ideas of agriculture, new culture being introduced to Timor, starting to introduce monoculture plantation, and starting using machinery and so on. So the traditional knowledge of the people is starting to decrease a little bit. But during Portuguese time, not much happening. But when after Portuguese left in 1975, then Indonesia took over Timor with massive military occupation. As I said, like after Portuguese left in 1975, and then 2 weeks later, Indonesia took over the country with military invasion, and so that's a huge impact on the country. Not only like it took the country as a land, but also destroyed the culture of the people as well. When Indonesia that time already big promotion of the green revolution that time, so they're using chemical fertilizer, pesticide, hybrid seeds, and they want to expand rice plantation in Timor. So actually, it's turning the whole people culture of the impacting on the traditional culture of eating pattern of Timorese. So in the past, Timorese used to eat variety of food crops. They, for instance, for carbohydrate, they're eating more yam, a little bit of corn, and also a little bit rice. But rice, it's a dryland rice. But then after Indonesian occupation, then they push for the more irrigated rice and more into monoculture. And of course, to increase rice production, they investing a lot of money into big irrigation system and putting machinery, and also using lots of chemical fertilizer, pesticide. So it actually destroy the knowledge of the people of using organic material to grow the crops for vegetables, fruits, and so on.
Can you say something about the way that was introduced too? Because you said something before about the military intervention in that process too, that actually it wasn't just a spreading from the companies, it actually had something quite forceful behind that spread as well.
Yeah, you know, again, that time because of the regime, Indonesia is very big with military occupation, and so military always behind this agricultural intervention, including coffee, for instance, the monopoly coffee plantation. So the Timorese coffee farmers, they cannot sell themselves. It's actually controlled by military. So then when the 1997, when the economic crisis hit Indonesia or Asia, and the price of the external input increased massively. So most of Timorese, they cannot afford to buy this kind of input. So then starting to part of the student, the movement for liberation. So one of the ideas is how can we bring back the traditional knowledge of the people when we got independence? And then student movement starting to mobilize, you know, talk about how important it is to revitalize the traditional culture and also agriculture. I was at that time study animal husbandry. So outside of the university. So we create like a small of student movement. So look at how can we learn, using organic. But because we don't have much experience, but we have a good trial. But then after when August 99, we have a referendum. So majority, like 80% of the population, choose for independence. So that's a chance. And then the UN intervention with aid program. So it's the right time that the permaculture been introduced.
And you're saying too that 80% of people in Timor-Leste actually
living in the rural area
rely on agriculture
as the main economic bone.
Yeah.
So then it's a great time. And then this permaculture volunteer from North New South Wales, Steve Crane, so he came and introduced permaculture, and then meeting me, and he explained, even though I don't speak much English that time, but then after he explained, he showed the example, and then I said, that's what we dreaming for.
Yeah. And so, was it like for you what you had before?
No, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
Like a more I could say more easy, and also more creative than before.
So how did other people feel about that? Was it an idea that just took off, or was it take a lot of explanation and demonstration?
Take time. Okay. Because when you mention about permaculture, people say, what's permaculture? But when you mention about sustainable agriculture or agroecology, then people, okay, so something to do with ecological agriculture. Also agriculture that we don't harm in the environment. So then kind of understandable. But because of this UN intervention, permaculture is just a small part. So the biggest part is with agenda trying to solve the food security of the country and trying to increase production. So massive food aid coming in, and also again we got fertilizer being sent in from China and tractors and so on.
So the help was the wrong help.
Yeah, again they repeat the same mistake that Indonesia have done to Timor during 24 years. So then PERMATIL, permaculture organization in Timor, PERMATIL, starting to lobby and then working with so many local NGOs and farmers group around the country. And we established a sustainable agriculture network called HASATIL. And HASATIL, the member all around the country. So we're organizing exhibitions, seminar, and then lobby the government, and then takes more than 10 years so for government to recognize that sustainable agriculture or permaculture or agroecology is actually that's the country need.
Yeah.
So then slowly we have to penetrate into the all aspect of policy. So
but you're saying now permaculture is in sort of the government policy of agriculture, and it's in the school education,
in the curriculum,
which is so it has managed to infiltrate.
Yeah, that's right. So we have a group of people, like intellectual people, that they penetrating to all this department. So I went into education, and a few friends keep advocating through Ministry of Agriculture and also state administration government. So, and then later, the permaculture in education is a massive change because it's been adopted part of the national curriculum, and it's approved by law. And so,
well done. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I had to also thank our Timorese government, because they actually opened their door for us to actually put permaculture into the national curriculum. And I think this is quite helpful for the Timor-Leste Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah.
And so now, starting last year, through the lobby as well and the strategic review of Ministry of Agriculture, so they're starting to adopt permaculture into the policy, also starting to raise permaculture also as a way to achieve sustainable agriculture in Timor.
So how's permaculture spreading out? Are you having lots of courses? There's lots of trainers. There's lots of school programs. How is it still, infiltrating? I suppose. What's the method that you've got going that works there?
Since Steve left in 2002, 2003, so we don't run any permaculture design course, PDC, because Timor Leste probably different to other country. That majority of the people are still illiterate. They can't read and write. So then we just focus on the issue. Instead of people coming to us, we go to the community. And so we travel around the country to help. And then basically in both ways. So we learn from the community about their traditional knowledge of farming system. And then we introduce new ideas to improve what the knowledge that are existing or exists there already. So it's like permaculture is a great complementing among the Timorese culture, and so like in the farming system, and also looking after their forest, their water. And so.
Have you found it's a way of actually helping people to remember and revalue traditional culture?
Revitalize their culture, and also value their culture more. Rather than say, our culture is a backward, or outside culture is more, updated or modern, and so now it's kind of So when people ask where is your permaculture garden, I said Timor Leste.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
So what about the women? How, is it a very much sort of balanced approach? Like women are involved, or is it a different approach that the women are taking, or is it just
in our approach, PERMATIL approach, we always want balance between women and men, because that's one of our principle of work. So in PERMATIL, we have few great